could be swept away, swept away. I'm cornered in the cold where you left me. Left again, left again. Oh, there's a jungle in my head growing wilder, and it's killing me, killing me. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go.
Hi, everyone. We have terrible timing with our song. We have to cut it and make it so that it is better timed up with our 2-minute countdown, or change our countdown timer. Maybe we can do it like a minute fast dance before we jump on. Oh, it is awesome to be back in front of the camera. I was out last week. Did you miss me? Did you miss me, Jill?
I absolutely missed you. And because we're friends, I got to see a few pictures like behind the scenes on what you were doing out there. You looked gorgeous. I'm assuming you were in a wedding, right?
I was in my sister-in-law's wedding. It was a whole family affair. My husband married them. My daughter and son were flower girl and ring bearer. And I did a small speaking moment, a reading, if you will.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super fun, but it was nice because the weather was definitely colder than it normally is in California. So I was like, it's going to be okay because we're going to be back again in like a week and a half. So it'll be all okay.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm excited. I'm ready for some sunshine. We came back in the middle of like a terrible New England snowstorm. So I'm already ready to get back in front of the warm, hopefully warm California sun again, which is what we're going to be talking about all today. So questions welcome, because we're going to just talk through kind of thinking through and planning for an event and what are the possibilities and things that you can do with video at an event. But I don't have any props this time around, so we'll talk things through, and if we can find links, we'll be sure to drop those in afterwards. But we have done a bunch of these kinds of events on the Ecamm team. Jill's done a ton of these kinds of events, so we're specifically talking about social media marketing world, which is taking place really soon here, less than 2 weeks, in San Diego. We are this year actually not sponsoring the show. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I live or can get to San Diego.
Booth? Yeah.
Where's the Ecamm booth? I'm so sad I'm not going to be able to make it, or I can't afford to go to the event. No worries, because we are doing like 2 pregame kickoff events, and they are completely free, open to anyone in the Ecamm world or those wanting to learn more about Ecamm. And they are offsite. They're like across the street. They're sort of across the street from the convention center. So if you're in the area or you can get to the area, we're kicking things off on Sunday, March 13th with like a big, crazy Ecamm cocktail dinner party. And then all day on Monday, we're doing a full live stream studio. So I'm really excited about this.
I'm so excited. I need to find something super cute to wear, because if it's going to be semi-fancy, I'm going to show up. But I'm so excited because besides you and Ken and Glenn and Doc, which are you know, the VIPs of all the Ecamm world. I mean, so I've just started up here, but in terms of that, like, I haven't met anyone else in person, but I feel like I know so many of you here in the Ecamm community because that's just the Ecamm fam. So I'm so excited. Like, our 2 streams ago, I was like, you guys are going? Katie, I gotta go.
You're going without me?
And now I'm going. So it's so exciting. I just can't wait to see everybody in real life. It's gonna be awesome.
I think it's gonna be great. And it's I'm really excited to be doing it this way because I think it's gonna give us a bunch of opportunity to be able to show off what the software can do, but also for many of us who have been using Ecamm for years at this point, I think it'll be a nice chance for people to meet up in real life and connect and have a bit of a quieter space that's not a huge convention center to be able to, you know, ask questions and network and get to know each other better. I'm hoping that there'll be lots of like collaborations and fun brainstorming sessions. So yeah, we'll be there all day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I have to show you. So here again, just in case you missed it, and we'll drop the links in so you can RSVP if you're in the area. But we will be in San Diego at the San Diego Wine and Culinary Center. We're taking over that whole space, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific, all day on March 14th. And to get you even more excited, huge schedule of stuff going on, plus free coffee all day, 5 different custom drinks to get you really fired up. But
the twins.
Exactly, the twins. We had some fun.
So awesome.
We had some fun naming these. But what's going to happen here and how we kind of laid it out is that we'll have a full live streaming area, like a full studio setup built, ready to go that, you know, people can test and play around with. But we're also going to have an entire workshop area. So what you see here as far as the schedule goes is we have Evie and Anna and Fulgens and Daniel and Rob from Uscreen and Harmony from Descript, Adrian Salisbury, and then we're ending the day with Gary Ware, who's going to do an entire improv-based training to help us with presentations. So it's a pretty filled, packed day. So whether you're just like hanging out and drinking coffee on us all day, good on you, have meetings, or you're in the live streaming area and you're helping out to kind of learn a little bit more or play with some gear or, you know, just kind of get up and running or see what all the different opportunities and possibilities are within the app. Awesome. Or you're doing a workshop or some combination of everything. But we have kind of these 3 very specific zones set up throughout the day for people to be able to take advantage of a lot. Thank you, Paul. Paul's dropping in our link. So yeah,
I was just about to say, that's so awesome, Paul.
If you want to join us for the meetup, that is on Sunday night, 5 to 8 p.m. You can click that link. It's completely free. We are just asking you to RSVP literally so that we can make sure we have an accurate amount of drinks and food. So come and enjoy drinks and food on us. I think we spent most of the planning, you know, here we're talking about like planning and production. 90% of the planning for these events is like, what fun drinks and coffee and food can we bring you? But yeah, and then the studio day, the second day, again, we're only asking you to RSVP just so that we can make sure we have an accurate amount of food and drinks. So we will have food all day on the Monday. So we'll have snacks, and we have a lunch that's coming in, and then coffee drinks on us all day. So if you're going to the event, or if you're not and you're just local, we'd love to see you and be able to hang out. Yay! We're going to get to hang out with Victor on Sunday. It's going to be super, super fun.
I think that's so awesome that you guys are being so generous and mindful. And I mean, it totally makes sense. But I mean, it's a big deal to be able to just open this up and say, hey guys, come on out, and like, don't worry about anything, just get to know each other and listen to these presentations and have fun. Like, I way to go, Ecamm.
Well, everyone's been asking us for a really long time. They're like, when are you going to do an Ecamm Con? When are you going to do your own conference? When are you going to do Ecamm Con? When are you going to do? So this is, I think, a good precursor to that. I think there's a lot of people that we've certainly a lot of customers that live in California, and then there are a ton of people that are coming in for Social Media Marketing World. It's a huge event, so I think it's a great chance where like a lot of people are already there to be able to sort of kick things off and get people excited. On that.
Yeah,
and actually, I can show us a tease. I can show a tease. One sec.
I love a good tease. Did I say that out loud? Yeah.
Who doesn't love a tease?
Who doesn't love a good tease? Teaser.
A teaser. So here we have this is it won't have a stripe across it like this one, but we have content creator planners for everyone that comes on either of the days. And they are like filled with like run of show, equipment checklists.
Shut up with that.
Nope. Checklists.
That is
weekly
awesome.
topics, weekly guests. So it'll help you plan out all your content. We had Sylvia and Andrew put those together for us. So I think it'll be great, again, whether or not you're going to the main event or you're just hanging out with us. But yeah, we have a ton of freebies and cool things that are going to
What did Michael Scott say at that convention when he was just there for all the free swag stuff we all get?
Stuff we all get. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be an Ecamm fam event without a lot of
some
swag.
merch.
Some merch. Some merch for free. So it's going to be super fun. But we should talk a little bit about production, since I'm sure there are people here who are like, sad face, I'm not in California, I hate you all. Please help me learn how to do these. We've been talking a lot about like on location productions, which I think is going to be a pretty big thing this year. This setup has been fairly easy for us, and can walk through a little bit of what it is. But basically, we have a pop-up counter that actually folds down completely into like a roller suitcase. It's incredibly convenient. I will drop the link in for anyone that's like, I would like to do these kinds of events and I just don't know where to get started. So it's just a countertop. You can put a banner or like your branding on the front of it. We have just like a Velcro sign that sticks to the front of it, but it pops all down into a roller bag so I can roll it through the airport with me, pop all that up. And then that's basically our like home base and branding. And then we just have whatever, background or something that looks natural behind us. In this case, we're at a wine and culinary center. So there's like a row of wine barrels behind us.
Booze.
So we have those branded actually with our Ecamm So it's going to be a really kind of fun backdrop for it. But then that gives us the space to set up a really similar kind of studio setup that you might see here in my studio or in your studio space. So it's just like in our case, a MacBook laptop, lights, our camera on a tripod in front of us. We'll probably have a couple different camera options and angles. And then microphones, and in our case, we have these fun, they're called Phoenix microphones, but we have like handheld microphones that have the Ecamm flag on them, so that we look like news producers.
That's awesome. Now, did Alicio use a similar one in the video series last year? I know you had a handheld one with like an Ecamm logo on it.
Yeah, I think I've seen Alicio use them. I don't know if his is the exact same as ours. Anna and Fulgens used them when they did People of Video last year for us. So if you saw those broadcasts, those were those mics. Adrian and his team have the same set, and they have Ecamm flags as well that they've been using for productions out in the UK. They use them at Atomicon, but they literally like you can buy just white like plain mic flags that you just like tuck up on top underneath the mic so that it is the mic flag, and then it's just stickers, which merch.ecamm.com, you can grab stickers. But so whether it's an Ecamm sticker or it's your own branded sticker, it's a pretty like minimal expense to look pretty great. So it's when you're on location, you want to be able to look your best and stand out from the crowd. And for us, what matters the most as far as an investment goes is getting a really big display or monitor or TV so that anyone walking by can see what the feed looks like. That's our like most important kind of biggest spend usually at these kinds of events beyond anything else. Like everything else is pops of brand or color equipment that we have, but that is our kind of go-to rule, that it's like, what's the biggest monitor that you can get? That, and then obviously internet connectivity, and thinking through making sure that we have the best possible connection or are paying for a wired connection. But when it comes to trade shows and conferences, that's our number one go-to for having in the booth or having in the public space.
So what are you guys doing for that? Like, what's the venue providing you for that, or what do you need to bring to be available to live stream all day?
Yeah, so they have Wi-Fi, which is available for everyone just hanging out, and we'll have charging stations and such. So if you need to just power up, that'll be there. But they have a wired connection for us, and Doc's been going back and forth. But even with that, we still are bringing our portable internet, and we have Speedify, and we have a couple of other options because we have have played this rodeo before, and occasionally, even with a wired connection, even with spending additional funds to make sure that we have the level of upload speed that we're looking for, we still always have contingency plans and backups because anything could happen. Anything.
I love to hear that, because I've been through less than ideal circumstances, or I've been told time and time again, hey, yeah, no, our Wi-Fi is so strong.
Yeah, we're the
and
best.
Then you just don't know. I mean, I ran into an issue last week with streaming a hockey game at a trade center it's this huge center, and no matter what I brought, it was less than ideal. And I honestly wish I had said, as much as I'd like to live stream this, given the circumstances, I'm going to do live to tape and then share it immediately afterwards and still have it be produced the same way. But it was a playoff game, so the desire was like, oh, it's okay, even if it's choppy, just stream. But it's so important to think through those things and have backup plans. I know I've shared it before, but I use the PepWave Max Duo Transit. It's designed for what do you call them? RVers, but I've found it's been super helpful. I have 2 SIM cards, and then it bonds that, and then also you can put in Wi-Fi, so it bonds it all together. But Speedify has been something that I've used consistently now. That's on all of my devices as well, and sometimes things happen, but to just be like, oh yeah, they're going to give us an Ethernet. You can't go by, like, you don't know, there might be firewalls that pop up, or someone walks by and like steps on the plug. There's just so many variables. So something as important as that, or if you are hired for any type of live streaming gig, have 3 audio options, have 3 video options, have 3 internet connectivity options, and then even have a backup for if let's say the whole city of Marlboro goes dark and there's no internet, communicate with your, put it in a contract that if certain things are outside of our control, this is what you can expect from us, because it's just so important. Live is great, but it's risky at times. So redundancies.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, interesting. It says that. All right. So I'm scrolling back through questions. Thanks for
my audio.
Yeah,
someone's
your audio.
saying it's coming through. I don't know. I'm not using my normal setup. I'm in a economic development corporation right now. I'm going through a mixing board and then through an audio interface. I have found that sometimes with my Focusrite, it does, even though it's not set to just push on one side, it does that sometimes.
It does. Oh, we're sorry, team.
You're going to have to deal me in whatever ear I'm in. You're welcome. Hey, how's it going?
Exactly. You put something in the other. Put something in the other ear. It's good to see Sammy, and Obs is here. We have Keely here. Loving seeing everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out. Juan is ready. Everyone's ready. I love it. Yeah, sorry about that, Neil. We'll make sure next time we're more organized. Paul is sharing links. If you're like, hey, wait a sec, I don't have a game changer mug. We got you.
Oh, I just reset my audio. Someone said that I'm not coming in at all. Let us know if my audio is working now. I just changed one tiny thing.
Oh, weird. Yeah, let us know.
Oh, someone hears me in both ears.
Paul hears us in both ears. Constance, let us know if it's coming back again. Hopefully you can hear me, or no, we're not just like deadly quiet and you're like, I don't know.
I should just start miming.
Yeah, exactly. We'll mime everything. Yeah, Sammy. Yeah, so we had a really similar setup to people at Video. We've been using this setup, and this kind of like revised version of the setup is our go forward for this year. So we're doing Social Media Marketing Worlds. We're also doing Podcast Movement in August in Texas, and likely Content Marketing Worlds, and then certainly People Video again at the end of the year. So at all of these events, our focus has been creating this kind of live streaming lounge space. So instead of just doing demos or being there to answer questions, we're like, hey, you can use our space to record your podcast or to go live or to play with video. And then I think that gives folks a little bit more of a hands-on experience. And then anyone who isn't kind of coming in to do that can see it on our giant monitor that is in front or behind. So it makes it a really kind of eye-catching experience if you're in like a busy booth kind of environment to be able to stand out. And then usually I find with most of the different event planners, if you are kind of negotiating back and forth and talking about different kind of sponsorship packages, right now, a lot of them are looking for some kind of live element or video element, even if they've hired an additional company. So, it's really a great option to be able to interview some of their speakers, or, provide some added even behind the scenes content, is beneficial for you as a business, but also is beneficial for the event coordinators or the event producers as well. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
That's a great point too. Like, for someone like me, if I was trying to find more clients to offer live streaming production to kind of have like a kit like that, where like, hey, you know what? I can show up. I'll bring this type of a banner. If you have any tablecloths that's got, like, for MEDC, they've got tons of tablecloths they've used for different events, but I can just put it right over this. Like, adding that to your list of services, I can do a whole pop-up, be there and set up a booth for you and live stream whatever you'd like. I think that's kind of cool. I hadn't thought about having literally a table and a booth that could be modular for other companies.
Yeah, I think we're probably in a slightly different space than a lot of you that are listening, but for us as a company that is focused on video production and live streaming, it's been nice for us because many of these events, as they're getting back to being in person, still need a video side of it. They still need live streaming, and again, even if they're hiring like a different company or a larger company to be able to do that on site, there's still a lot of those opportunities in between to be able to, they're in many cases, spending a lot of money to fly speakers in or to have, all of that expert content. You could help do, behind the scenes interviews, additive content, any of that kind of stuff. And then, each of those speakers are a big deal, right? So if they're at the event and they're speaking, they also have a platform as well. And so, making them feel really special amplifies your reach. And also, if each of them are live streaming out through their channels as well, it helps to kind of expand people that know about you and about what you're doing. So there's a lot of really cool networking opportunities and kind of smaller things that people may not think about at some of these events, especially this year as there are more of them kind of getting back to this in-person or hybrid model.
Yeah. So speaking of like getting together and networking and stuff like that, I'm curious to throw a question out to everyone that's watching right now. Yeah. Are you team physical business card for networking things? I don't have my regular camera with me, so it's not. Or are you team digital or QR code? So let us know in the chat. And Katie, what about for you? I mean, are you going to be bringing your stack of business cards with you, or are you more like, hey, you should know me? So just... I'm
not bringing business cards with me because we signed up for a company called Link, LINQ, late last year. I tested it out at People of Video, and I'm like really excited about trying it out now. So if you haven't heard about it, LINQ, Link, it is it's a digital option. Basically, they give you they have a whole bunch of options actually, but the one I have is it's like a plastic business card. It's got a QR code on it, but it actually, like, even if you just bump it near a phone, it transfers all of my contacts directly into someone's phone. But cool. It lets you do a bunch of different things. Like, it syncs up and connects in with my Calendly, so people can immediately, book a meeting with me if they want to. It lets us show like our product video and a bunch of different information about the company. And then there's also things like we have a form on it. So it's, if we're doing like a promotion for an event, for example, we can collect leads that way. And then everyone that comes in through that lead then, would get like a discount code or special offer, swag, whatever we have going, whatever stuff we have going on. I love it. Yeah. Paul says he's digital, paper. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of, it's a weird turnaround. I still still very much like a writing it down person. So,
no I heard a tip years ago. I was working at a bank when I was still in college, and I went to one of those local regional chamber of commerce type of networking event, and they told us that, and I've found this to be true and helpful, if you are going to bring business cards, get one that is like blank on the back so that people can write notes, because I've found during during networking events, I like to make notes on the person. Like, oh, wow, okay, love your card, great. I love to be able to write some notes, especially when you're going to meet so many different people. So it's funny, like, I'm not an old school, like, oh, I need my business cards, but there is that element. And so I think I'm going to have both, because I have one of those dot cards. I haven't set it up to anything yet. But those are really, really cool in terms of like, here, quickly, here's my information. So I think I'm like team both.
I know, hybrid. team hybrid for the hybrid events. Oh, Jeff says, so Jeff is using Link as well. We've been testing sending it to a bunch of different influencers to try it at different events. And they have like watch bands and like lanyard style. So there's a bunch of different options. And I Link is not the only one, obviously, but there's there are a ton of them. Paul's been using Link as well. It's just, I think it just makes it a little bit easier. I know too, I will say that when we were at Social Media Marketing World 2 years ago, I was gonna say last year. Nope, that wasn't it. 2 years ago, folks. 2 years ago, Adrian had set up an entire chatbot, which I thought was also really smart. I know probably some of you out there who do chatbots, but it was like a QR code. I think he just had it on like a physical card or set up somewhere, but people could scan the QR code and it would automatically open up a chatbot and then, kind of work them through a flow. So it was whether, show them an offer or, have them sign up for something or register into an email list, which is also a nice way to do it if you're in the kind of chatbot world. It's a fun option out there as well.
Are we going to have name tags at the Ecamm event? Because like for real, I like some people I know in the community and I know them through their video, but sometimes I don't always make a connection with faces.
We're going to have full face masks that have people's avatar printed on them so that you can recognize them from YouTube. So everyone will just be, name tags is a great idea. There's not, I will say right now, I think we're at about 40 or so folks who are coming in for the Ecamm meetup. So it's like enough people that it's busy, but small enough that it's right. I think we're going to give everyone permission to say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and just keep repeating that because we may not always remember. For people like me who are like, I know generally most people, but I'm terrible at remembering names, or I'm awful at being like, I think it's. So I think repeating it is fine. But name tags is a great idea. Ken and Glenn won't do that, but we can make sure that they're wearing their Ken and Glenn t-shirts.
Of all people, they should. I mean, we know Ken and Glenn, but having identical twins myself. When I dress my twins the same, they're like, really, Jill? Really? I'm like, I don't know. It's cute. They're adorable. I can tell them apart. Now, what about this is another idea that I had that I think relates to this type, like virtual in-person events and branding and everything. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to wear, not to be like obnoxious, but like for me, almost every time I live stream, I wear a bright yellow or orange shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
like a color.
it saves me from thinking about it saves me from overthinking what am I going to wear and did I wear that last time? It's just like that's kind of my branding and it's almost my uniform, so it helps me produce more content ideally because I'm not overthinking. Like my room is set up, my technology is set up, and I know what I'm going to wear, so I don't have to think about it. But now I'm thinking like maybe I should buy 5 yellow shirts for the actual event.
It's always a good excuse for that. Christine Gritman, shout out to Christine, is like incredible at this. Like her color is red, and she is like at all of these events where I have seen her, and even in like photos of her at events, she's like highly recognizable. Like she's got like always like some very obvious red on, or like a full red shirt, or she's got like a pop of red in her hair, or like it's always like subtle but blatantly obvious, and she does a really great job with it. It's a really good thing to think about. My uniform these days is just Ecamm t-shirts, so I'm just gonna wear Ecamm t-shirts every single day with jeans, short of the party where I may dress up. I don't have an Ecamm dress, so maybe I'll have to figure that part out. But
I told Junaid he should bring like a poster board behind him with like purple and red lighting. Because his background is so good in his like home studio mastery. I'm like, just get like a poster board. I don't think he's going to do that. And he's got a recognizable face. I'll be all right.
Yeah. We'll find Junaid. But
Jeff is saying I wear the same thing at every conference. I mean, honestly, you don't want to have to think about it. Like I'm being strategic about, okay, what do I want my week to look like? What do I want to spend my time on? Who do I really want to connect with?
Yeah.
And then, for recognizability, wow. I think it'd be good to like have that set, and then you don't have to think about it and you can just enjoy your time.
Yeah. There's so many good speakers. It's going to be an awesome event. It feels like 2 events at this point because we have like the entire pregame stuff that we're doing, which is just I'm always blown away by like everyone's enthusiasm and jumping on, and I'm just excited for like all the workshops. We have Brian Schulman and Christine and Kirk and Anna and Fulgens so are going to be live streaming from our studio space like throughout the day. So there's a bunch of like fun live content going out as well. So we'll make sure that all of those shows go out to this channel as well, so that you can tune in if you haven't actually seen live content from these guys. It'll be fun to kind of see the difference between their regular setup. You can go back and kind of look at their regular setup versus what we were doing and see if you can listen to the difference. I'm always kind of amazed at, we've been talking a lot about like audio and, microphone technology and kind of how close you need to be to your mic. But the handheld microphones, so we have the Phoenix, but there's a ton of great ones, but whether it's handheld or lavalier mics. But we were at Social Media Marketing World, huge event, 2020, before the world shut down. So it was still very big, lots of people around. And you could hear Stephanie Liu doing interviews with like all of these amazing people in our booth, fine, as if there was no, like there were people just like
no background noise,
huge background noise. I was like, there's no way that these microphones are going to be able to cut that out, and they really, really did.
Awesome.
You had to have them in front of you, like anything else. Right. Like you had to talk into them, but they looked really cool, and it was really remarkable how well the technology worked. So, if it's something you haven't tried before, these were not crazy expensive, all things considered. Like they were not by no means, a money breaker for us for being able to set up this booth space. And they were so cool looking with the flags and the stickers on them. They looked great. And
is it wired or wireless? I can't remember.
No, they were wireless. And then they had a little, I'm going to mispronounce what this is, but it's either like a mixer, or they had like an additional
receiver and
with,
transmitter.
That's it. That's the word, with with little transmitters on top of it. So but they were great, and we've used them a ton. The one fun behind the scenes story, we brought them to People of Video, and they're battery powered, so they have like literally, I think they're AA batteries in them. We got one open, no problem, changed out the batteries. The other one would not open. Wouldn't open at all. So if you're planning for and thinking through what you might need when you're doing one of these events and you have a battery powered microphone, batteries, check, first thing. WD-40, probably not a bad idea to have in your bag, just in case, because these ones we had used a bunch of times and they like never had a problem before. And Doc couldn't open them, Fulgens couldn't open them, Anna and I couldn't open. I think we all took like a turn of hitting it down and you're trying to see how we can get it open. So it was definitely interesting.
I hate when you accidentally get stuck in those moments. I put a SIM card in a device the other day, but without the holder. Like there was a thing to put the SIM card in, and I just put the SIM card in, and I was like, oh no, I had to go buy the skinniest tweezers I could find to get it out. I got it out, but those moments.
Absolutely. Hi, I know we're having some audio
sorry.
issues. We're sorry.
I'm not in my normal spot.
So what happens when we're on location? Things you can plan for and things you just can't. Hi, Tommy. Always good to see everyone. Yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. We just wanted to get people a little bit fired up about an upcoming event. And if you're not going to be able to make it, don't worry. We're going to do lots of live content. We'll answer everyone's questions. We'll be sure to pick everyone's brains. So we have, a whole crew of everyone's favorite live streamers and content creators hanging out. So we'll have Diana Gladney will be there, Stephanie Liu. We have Luria Petrucci. Adrian is going to be there.
I'm going to try to not imitate his accent, because I do a really good Adrian, And I don't know him well enough to know if I'm complimenting him or
I think you should. I think you should. I think you could be woman on the ground asking questions.
I'm gonna definitely video bomb every presenter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just see how many ins I can get. Man, it's gonna be so exciting. It's gonna be great to meet everybody. That's so good.
Yeah, it'll be great. Exciting. Oh, Mary Lou. Yeah, there's so many. I can't even be into. There's just so many sessions that look awesome at the event, and so many people that are going to be hanging out with us. So it should be a lot of fun, a ton of fun, and sneak peek. So we are March 2nd right now, but March 10th, we are doing a huge, exciting, fun celebration because we just broke 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube.
Yay!
It also might be the release of version 3.10 of the app. Yeah. Just saying.
Shut up. Are you serious?
We are. So if you've been playing around with some of the features there, notably the virtual microphone, which has been super fun and exciting for a lot of people who are Zoomers or Google Meeters or Microsoft Teamers or whatever else you use as far as video conferencing. Virtual microphone is in 3.10.
Like animated overlays, and
there's a lot of like smaller
so
things. The big ones are virtual mic, and then Mac shortcuts. So if you've like set up a bunch of these cool shortcuts where you're like, okay, I'm going into live streaming mode, so shut off all of the other apps and turn on Do Not Disturb and start playing music, and you can set up a lot of really cool shortcuts, which are great. Different than like hotkeys, not shortcuts on your computer, but Mac shortcuts. That's a really fun feature. And then we did just add in integration with OneStream. So if you have been kind of thinking about playing around with multi-streaming and you're looking for a different option, OneStream is a cool new tool or newer tool. So there's now that integration as well. So
that's awesome. That's going to be huge for a lot of people.
Paul says that Adrian is nice. You don't have to worry about me.
Yay, Jillian! I'm so excited to meet you in real life. That's what he's going to say to me.
There you go. That is what he's going to say to you. I know, Tommy. We need to do a Hawaii meetup. Yeah. Well, so we. it'll be just like 6 of us. It'll be hanging out, having fun. Yeah, Dallas is going to be the next one. When we're at, or then we might get one in between, but Dallas is the next big one. We'll be at Podcast Movement in end of August in Dallas, and I know because I pulled the data that there are lots of you that live in Texas. So I know Texas is a big state, but I feel like Dallas is a pretty big city. So hopefully we'll be able to be in and around your area, and people will be able to stop by for that as well. But yeah, awesome. You should. I think we did a survey or a poll a while back with like what cities people were looking at. So we'll do California. We're going to be back in New York for People of Video in the fall, Texas. And then I know we still need to get out to the UK and other places like that, which I'm desperate to go to, but travel's still a little dicey. So maybe we'll get there soon, hopefully.
What have been as an attendee, what have been your biggest takeaways from attending events like this? Because a lot of people maybe have never been to a big social media event or networking event. Like what tips do you have for people that are newbies to these type of conferences?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's a great question. I tend to focus too much on the actual like sessions and planning. Like I'm one of those people who I'm like, here is my schedule and I'm going to make sure that like I'm going to like this session and then I go in and I sit like right in the front row. But what's actually the most valuable, which I'm getting better at, is the planning in this time frame. So these like 2 weeks or week and a half before the event itself, diving into like finding out who else is going to be at these events, who might be, representatives or working for companies that you want to be working with or working more closely alongside, or people, other creators or people in your space who you just really, want to get to know better, want to meet, fangirling about. Reach out to them in advance and see if they have some time and they can, set up some time to meet you. It's those connections, and ideally the ones you can set up in advance of the event so that you're like on their calendar, you're on their radar, they know you're going to be there, they know you want to meet up with. That is really what's most valuable. The rest of the content is fantastic, and you should absolutely get in there and sit in the front row and be really excited about it. But you'll be able to always catch that later. There's lots of that kind of content that also exists online. What's really valuable are the actual relationships that you're making the people that you're meeting and getting to talk with, who see you face to face, because it's that face to face connection that's going to help you be able to grow a relationship with them down the road, or, you know, open up some of those opportunities. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of people, like, even through LinkedIn, it's such a great platform and such a great resource. But having been on interviewing committees for, you know, my school job back in the day, you can think that someone is a certain way based on paper, but meeting people in person, like, I've done work with people that maybe didn't have all of the skills that I needed on paper, but their work ethic and their personality and their likability came through so strong. So I think that that's great advice. I know that I've only briefly looked at some of the sponsors, but like Self-Publishing Book, that's a great company. I know some of them personally, and they're always hiring interesting people and with interesting skill sets that live streamers might be able to pair up with. So I think that's a great idea, to really do your research and then think about who you know, and make those connections beforehand.
Yeah, think about the sessions, but also think about, all of the people. Yeah, and sponsors is a great idea too. Obviously, like, take a look at, you know, if there are companies that you've just been really eager to work with, like, they're there, they're in their booth wanting to talk to people. So, you know, definitely go by and drop your business card or your digital business card to be able to get some time with them. But yeah, if you can set things up earlier, like, and figure out like when people are getting in, you know, a lot of people will tend to get in a day or two early, or maybe stay a day or two on the other side of it. So there's also kind of that time where it's great for like coffee dates, lunches, you know, dinner, drinks later. There's a lot of chances to get people either in a smaller group or one-on-one that would be really helpful. So I know that that's hard. I know, like, as a recovering introvert, I'm always like, I'm going to do that. But it's really, I appreciate that it's difficult to say that is very different than actually kind of cold reaching out to people. But I would challenge you to try anyway, even if it's just a comment in a live stream where you're like, I'm also going to this event. Like, I'll reach out to you later and maybe we can meet up. Just like getting on someone's radar in whatever way you're comfortable doing will go a long way.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to hang out with me, I'm getting there late Saturday night, and then I'm leaving Wednesday night, and then I'll be hooking up with the Ecamm fam Sunday and Monday, and then going over to the conference. So info@creativecommunicators.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And Katie at Ecamm, which you should all know, but
Katie at Ecamm.
Katie at Ecamm.com.
I need something snappier. Jill at Jill.
Jill.com.
Don't email that. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, pack snacks. I know I should be talking about other genius ideas. Definitely pack snacks. Definitely wear comfortable shoes. There's like I learned a long time ago at these kinds of events, like, forget about like, I'm like, I want to look cute, I'm gonna pack these adorable kitten heels. Nope. There's a lot of walking, particularly at this event. You're definitely gonna want to have like comfy your comfiest pair of shoes that you can
perfect
that you can wear. And lots of water, like pacing yourself. These are really like super, super long days. So it's also important to know when to be there, but also when to tap out. Like I am definitely the person that I'm like, I totally want to do karaoke. And then by the time that it's like 9:00 at night, I'm like, I can't. Like if I do that, I'll have super fun that time. And then the next day when I need to be on or need to be answering questions, I'm going to be totally exhausted, dreaming of like laying in my bed face down, totally asleep. So yeah, I would say know your limitations and know like the best use of your time.
Set boundaries. Yeah.
Set boundaries.
I've got another question for you because I'm super curious.
Yeah.
When you have been like hosting a booth or when you've been a vendor at these type of events, what's some good like protocol? So let's say that I'm like a big fangirl of Ecamm and I really want to meet Katie at Ecamm.com, but I don't want to be weird because I'm good at that. So like, what do you look for in a vendor, as a vendor, seeing so many people that might be into your product or interested in networking? Like, what are some tips you can give to a fangirl like me?
Yeah, that's a really great question.
Look at me cranking out the questions
lucky.
today.
I worked in a bunch of different kinds of industries and I worked at a bunch of different kinds of events over the years. And I feel like I've been lucky in that I haven't had like too many really creepy experiences happen. So knock on wood, I'm thankful for that. Not that I think any of you are creepy, but there definitely has that potential. I would say if you if you can be as like clear about who you are and what connects you with the person you're talking to, immediately up front, the better, because those people are seeing hundreds, if not thousands of people over the span of a weekend. So, if you can come up and be like, hi, I'm Katie. I work at Ecamm and I've been watching your YouTube channel for years. And like I love how you do XYZ thing. And and be really clear.
I do this, and I think that it would be great to have a conversation about these things. Yeah,
be really clear about your ask. I would like. There is nothing worse than, and this actually relates as much to email as it does, or direct messages as it does to in-person meetings. But there is nothing worse than like meeting someone and they're like super excited, but you don't actually know like what it is they want from you. Like they're just like, hey, we're so excited to meet you, and you're like, great, I'm so excited to meet you too, and you have this kind of moment, and you can tell that they want something, but you're not quite sure what it is they want. It's okay to be honest with your ask. Like it's okay to say like, hey, I'm at a point now where I'm like super looking at, to learn more about partnerships, and I'd love to have some of your time to chat about that. Or is that something that you do? Yeah. Like things like that are okay to ask, particularly in this kind of setting. If you've been upfront about like who you are and what you're doing, I think that's great. And then pull out your business card and hand it over, or figure out a way to connect. But I would avoid just standing there and being like, it's so great to meet you, because it's just like awkward silence and neither of you really know what to do after that moment. So it's a cold call sales kind of experience. I'd like this.
So practice your elevator speech.
Yeah, your elevator pitch.
And like, I think somebody like me that it's not that I get nervous talking to people, because I'm fairly comfortable in my own skin and everything, but there are times where I feel like I have to do a whole bunch of explaining to set someone up with what I want to say. Yeah. I don't come from a sales background. I come from a teaching background. So man, oh my God, if I want to teach kids Punnett squares, I'm going to do all of these examples about hereditary. Like I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about, and then I'm finally going to get to the point. And I think that we get a little nervous to just come out front and say what you got to say. But I've learned in the past few years that like it is entirely okay. And not only is it okay, you're going to be more respected if you can be direct and being mindful that there are maybe hundreds of people waiting to connect with that same person. So saying, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do a lot of things, but at this event, I'm going to focus on just a couple. So I'm not like, oh, but I also do this. Oh, and there's that one time and I do this off thing. Oh, and sometimes rein it in. Yeah. And be direct. Yeah.
I will say with the exception of like at a meetup event, like at any of the Ecamm meetup events I've gone to, we have gone really in depth with like personal stories. And like it really is a different kind of environment where like I think it's totally fine to be rambly and to hang out and to be like I think that's in many ways it's a deeper connection and experience, and we're looking for that, absolutely. But at an event where
at the actual
there's just
conference,
so much kind of passing traffic and kind of in and out, you really only have a brief amount of time to catch someone's attention. So I would say what you really are looking for in any of those connections is to like say who you are, how you relate to the person you're talking to, and what you want. So you want to be able to follow up with them later. You want to learn more about what they're doing. You want info from them. You need to be really snappy with that, because otherwise they're just going to have to move on to whoever the next person is, because there's just tons of people around. So yeah, that's a great question.
Good advice.
Yeah, and thinking, I mean, again, if you're kind of thinking through, if you're on the other side of it, you're thinking through like your setup, having a space that works for that as well is really helpful. So like if you're setting up again like a live streaming or a video production space, really thinking through like what the flow of that is. So like what we're doing with our live streaming lounge in a closed space where we're inviting people into the lounge, that's going to be a different setup than if we were in a booth with a lot of foot traffic, because it's not going to be as big of a deal if people come in and are like sitting on sofas chatting and like hanging out with people. They're not going to be disruptive of people who are in a slightly different space who are live streaming, versus like a booth if someone comes up and like walks in front of a camera or trips over something and knocks everything over. Like you'll have to think about a lot of that in the space that you're in when you're on location, on how can you tape things down, how can you make it feel so that it's inviting but not in this particular part of your space where there's equipment and things that you want to try to keep safe. How do you welcome folks in that way without causing disruption.
Right. And that pertains to any like on location video production or live streaming.
Yeah.
I was at a hockey game the other day and I was producing and the camera guy was right next to me, and the best spot that we had was still kind of the walkway for people. Yeah. So most of the time people understood, they saw we were filming so they would go around, but then there's kids running around. So what I found myself doing is I could have been up front more, but what I did was I wanted to protect our camera guy. So I physically I just took a foot backwards. And then so if people had to go around me, they weren't gonna, they'd have to go, it would clear him as well. And it's something small, it's something stupid, but like next time I would also maybe bring a cone or something else, because the leg on a tripod was going to be a potential issue. So just always being overly mindful of your space and anticipating where are people going to be coming from, where are people going to be going from. I mean, I think about like weddings and sometimes what couples will do after they announce, you know, you may kiss the bride, they go down the aisle and then they, instead of spending their whole reception going to all of the tables and visiting people, sometimes they will stand at the back entrance of the church
line,
and then people will leave and then it's like check. And I mean, I don't know that really relates to video production, but in terms of really being aware of your time, your space and expectations and the social norms and your settings, it's so important to think about those things.
I think it does. I mean, I think if you're I think really understanding like how big the space is, where it is exactly on a map, like what does it bump up against, what some of the, like, you have to really think about like acoustics and like who you
are you next to a door that's
who
gonna
you're near. Exactly. So, you know, we definitely have had instances at past events, not Ecamm events, but other ones where, you know, we were trying to set up some kind of like quieter space and we were next to like some rowdy vendor who was doing like a crazy giveaway with like a wheel, and they were like, spinning and shouting. So like having a good understanding of that, especially if you're investing in, you know, in a booth space, is really, really important. So more that goes into it obviously than just the gear, but it is amazing what you can do with a pretty simple setup. So like at these kinds of events, we're not doing anything too crazy. We have almost exactly the same setup that we would have here in the office space, maybe one or two additional cameras to be able to give it a couple different point of views. But then everything else that we're capturing is likely going to be captured either like on our vlogging cameras, like the Sony ZV-E10s, or just our phones. It's like behind the scene content. But the main live streaming area will feel pretty similar to what we have in that space, because where we are going to be is in a rented larger room. So we're basically just creating kind of a working space office on the go.
That's awesome.
It's probably
bullhorn.
Bullhorn. It's probably good to put yourself to one question limit. Yeah. You don't want to come up and ask 900 questions. I'm super guilty of that on occasion, but it's probably not. Yeah. The hi, okay, bye type. Yeah. That's what you're going for. So good to see you. Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say that I'm like, I was saying this to Shelly the other day. Because I am so like worried all the time about what other people think and what people's experiences are, I often will sell myself short when they don't actually care. So there are lots of people. So for everyone who may see me this year, I like being in selfies. I am often very nervous to go up and ask people to be in a selfie with me, but I like it and I don't mind when people take them with me. So it's one of those things that like, I think those asks are fine. Worst case, someone is going to say no, but I get it because I've stared at, like, I literally told Shelly afterwards, and she and I are friends. And I saw her at the People video event, and I was like, I would like a selfie with Shelly. She was taking selfies with everyone, but I was far on the other side of the room, and I did not have the courage to walk over and say, I would like a selfie with you. I was like, she's busy. Look at her hanging out with all of these cooler people than me. I'll just stand over here. And she wasn't. It was all in my head, right? So things like that, I think, are important to know. And there are people who are going to say no and are not going to want that, but know what you want. So like if you really just want to be in a moment with someone, or just to say hi, or just want to be excited with them, that's also fine. And it's cool to ask and to get excited by that. But yeah, it was one of those moments where I was like, this is so dumb. I'm an adult. I don't understand why I can't
do we do that? I think I was a little I don't want to say this out loud. I was a tiny bit starstruck. Well, with you, Ken and Glenn, for sure. That's obvious. But I was a little starstruck with Doc too. But the good thing is, like, when I met up with him, we were all like working on studio stuff.
Yeah,
and he quickly became
yeah.
he quickly became very human to me.
Yeah.
So
we're all very human. We're all happy to meet up. But yeah, I think it's going to be exciting to be able to meet people in real life. Hopefully we'll have lots of fun pictures. Hopefully we'll make you all feel a strong sense of FOMO so that you come out to the next event if you're not able to make it to this one. Victor says, since he can't, yeah, same thing. Yeah, I'm terrible at Photoshop, so I'm all in for the selfies. My husband will let me only ever take one selfie a day with him because he hates them so very much. So this is very exciting for me to have other people who might want to have a selfie.
I will take so many selfies with you, Katie. I will do all the selfies.
Fun travel selfies. Well, just like that, again, we're at the end of our hour, and next week will be the last of our will be the last one before Social Media Marketing World. So so there's that. So make sure that that you tune in, and if you want to be able to sign up, I was only listening to the right channel. I know. We'll get this audio fixed next time.
Sorry, it's my bad. It's just a thing. It just happens sometimes.
It happens sometimes. But thanks for hanging out. If you have any additional questions, you're always welcome to email us, or you can drop them here in the comments. If you're watching on replay, we'll be sure to follow up next time. But yeah, we will see you, hopefully see many of you in San Diego at the Wine and Culinary Center on March 14th. 13th is the meetup, 5 to 8 p.m. 14th is the lounge, 9 to 4 p.m. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. But if we don't see you, we'll see you on video, because we'll have video for all of it. So no worries either way. Thanks so much for hanging out today, Jill.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I love Wednesday afternoons with Katie from Ecamm.
I know. So fun. Tom, the only thing worse than groupies at a trade show. Yeah, everything knocked down. I know. It's very true. This is why we bring lots of swag with us every time. Thanks for hanging out, Christian. We will catch everyone next time. Thanks so much for being with us today.